Welcome. That was beautiful. I saw somebody put in the chat, what a great way to start the morning. I honestly couldn't agree more. It was fantastic. I'm Dave Morris, Executive Director for the American Heart and Stroke Association here in Delaware. I want to express my tremendous appreciation to all of you for joining us this morning. Check out that handsome devil over there. Looking sharp there, buddy. We're thrilled you are attending our Heart Walk Executive Leadership Kickoff event today to learn all that the American Heart Association is doing to save lives in our local community and about the impact of COVID-19 on the cardiovascular and cerebrovascular systems. Just a bit of housekeeping for us as we get started. We hope that you will all join us in the chat box during today's event. To do so, just click on the chat icon on the bottom of your Zoom screen and then select all attendees and panelists so you can engage with everyone during today's event. Also, all the guest lines will be muted and your camera disabled. So don't worry if you're not having a good hair day or if you're planning on doing this meeting today in your PJs. So let's give this a try. Everybody, if you could, jump in the chat box and say hi to everyone. Hey, there's Anna, April, Regina, Mallory, Lynn. Hey, there's Randy. There's Ben Collins from Bay Health. Awesome. Oh, great. Good morning, Lisa, Lindsay. Oh, Lindsay, great to see you. Todd, awesome. Great to have everybody here with us this morning. The American Heart Association's mission is to be a relentless force for a world of longer, healthier lives. The AHA funds innovative research, fights for stronger public health policies, and provides life-saving tools and educational information to prevent and treat cardiovascular disease and stroke. The reality is that even accounting for COVID-19, cardiovascular disease is still the nation's and Delaware's #1 cause of death, accounting for more deaths than all forms of cancer combined. Stroke is the world's #2 cause of death and America's #5 killer. Unfortunately, stroke is the #4 cause of death here in Delaware, and it's the leading cause of long-term disability in the US and around the world. And May is Stroke Month. I'm sure you guys probably knew about that though. Thank you for your support of our Heart Walk. You are joining with us to save lives. The Heart Walk represents an inspiring and powerful way to unite our community. It is a meaningful way to honor and remember loved ones who were lost to cardiovascular disease and stroke, and to harness our collective grief to achieve a positive outcome for the entire community. And it is a compelling way to celebrate and recognize our survivors. And I know there's many of you with us this morning too. and to highlight their stories and make an even stronger impact. Every 39 seconds, someone in the US suffers a heart attack. Every 40 seconds, someone in the US suffers a stroke. But there is good news. Approximately 80% of heart disease and stroke events are preventable. You heard that right, preventable, with healthy, nutritious foods, living a physically active lifestyle, and truly knowing your own body. So we are here today to challenge you to become part of this impressive Heart Walk movement, a movement that is focused on saving lives and a movement that is now more important than ever due to the lasting impact of COVID-19. In early December, COVID-19 became the leading cause of weekly death in the United States. Despite this stark and devastating toll, cardiovascular disease, including heart disease and stroke, remain the leading overall cause of death annually. Health inequities have been intensified by the pandemic's disproportionate toll on people of color. Our work to identify and remove barriers to healthcare access and quality continues because the American Heart Association believes that every person deserves the opportunity for a full and healthy life. It will take all of us to bring this work to life for those who need it the most. Your input is vital as we champion the need to urgently advance research and equity in cardiovascular disease and cerebrovascular care for longer, healthier lives for everyone, especially here in Delaware. Now, I am honored to introduce you to the highly regarded President and CEO of BB Healthcare, Dr. David Tam. Dr. Tam is a distinguished and accomplished healthcare executive and retired officer in the US Navy. He completed his pediatrics residency at the US Naval Hospital in Oakland, California, and a pediatric neurology fellowship at the Medical College of Virginia. In March, Dr. Tam celebrated his 1-year anniversary at BB, and his strategic leadership has made a tremendous impact here in Delaware. We are thrilled to have Dr. Tam as our Southern Delaware Heart Walk Chair this year, and we are deeply grateful for his exceptional leadership and support. Dr. Tam will now present on the lasting impact of COVID-19 on the cardiovascular and cerebrovascular systems. Dr. Tam?
Thank you, Dave. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you today as we talk about heart disease and stroke and the amazing impact the American Heart Association has. As Dave said, by training, I am a pediatric neurologist, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about the AHA, because at the end of the day, stroke is one of the significant cerebrovascular systems issues that is impacted by AHA. Next slide, please. What I'd like to do today is just share with you a little bit of information to help whet your appetite about how important it is to talk about stroke and also heart disease, and in the context of where we have been going for the past year. As Dave said, I've been at BB Healthcare now for 1 year, came in on March 17th, and as we come out of the high peaks of this or the surges of the pandemic, it's now time to start thinking a little bit about some of the long-lasting impact, or what you might have heard about long hauler syndrome, on cardiovascular and cerebrovascular systems associated with COVID-19. And as you can see, that's a picture of the Margaret H. Rollins campus here in Lewis, Delaware, in Southern Delaware. BB Healthcare also has several other campuses as we span across Sussex County to be the community health system for this county. Next slide, please. So I've been here for a year, and as I said, I'm a pediatric neurologist by training. You know, it's really interesting to be at the community health system level because many of the things that AHA does is really look at how not to treat patients in the academic setting, although you will also hear today presentations of AHA support in terms of research being done, but also about how we identify and treat stroke and heart disease at the community health system level. We are the community health system for Sussex County, and people come to us first with symptoms or concerns. Next slide, please. Now, you've heard about the term COVID long haulers. And what we're talking about are the fact that some people, even after they recover from COVID-19, have continued to experience symptoms that were not present prior to the COVID-19 infection and can happen for weeks or even months after having the COVID-19 infection. And this is something that is coming out now, both in the international literature as well as the national literature, as more people are recovering and then surviving from COVID-19. Next slide, please. So I want to just share with you the nomenclature of where we talk about COVID-19 recovery. There are actually some definitions as to the stages of that recovery. Now, as you know, acute COVID-19 infection are symptoms of COVID-19 that can occur for up to 4 weeks following the onset of the illness. So if someone has symptoms like loss of taste or smell, or dyspnea or respiratory problems or things like that, the acute phase of the illness can last up to 4 weeks following the onset of the disease. That said, many times ongoing symptomatic COVID-19 symptoms can last anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks following the onset of the illness. And then post-COVID-19, where symptoms that develop during or after COVID-19 can continue for up to 12 weeks or 3 months after an initial infection, which is not explained by an alternative diagnosis. So if you think about that, 3 months after someone has been diagnosed and starts to recover, but continues to have other symptoms that are not explained by other diagnoses, is one of the considerations for why we have to understand long hauler syndrome, and long hauler syndrome in the context of stroke or heart disease. As you know, this is Stroke Awareness Month, and many of the symptoms of stroke are also symptoms that can occur in some of these patients with long haulers syndrome. Next slide, please. So the prolonged physical symptoms of COVID-19 can include fatigue, dyspnea, or shortness of breath, chest pain or tightness in the chest, cough, myalgias or continued muscle weakness and muscle pain, and then altered taste or smell. If you think about that, that's a long time to continue to have some of these symptoms. And once you get into that period of time, there are so many different things that people and doctors, nurse practitioners, other primary care physicians could diagnose a COVID-19 long hauler symptom patient with. It could be anything from PTSD, it could be fibromyalgia, anxiety, depression. All those things are symptoms of really potentially COVID-19 long hauler syndrome. And it's really important for people who have the diagnosis of COVID-19 to understand that and to keep going back to their doctor and asking questions about how to treat this and what do I need to do. Next slide, please. So some of the psychological or cognitive symptoms that can be seen in COVID-19 long hauler syndrome are anxiety, depression, PTSD, and poor memory or concentration. Now, it's really, of course, an important thing to understand that COVID-19 was, for many people, as well as for all of us in the community, a traumatic event. Not just because people got ill, people died, people had significant problems, were in the hospital, but because of the social isolation associated with the disease. People who may have recovered from COVID-19 spent weeks or in the ICU, couldn't get family to see them because of the restrictions that were placed, for safety precautions. People who were stuck in their homes, even though they had mild COVID-19 symptoms, who were socially and physically isolated, who couldn't see their family or couldn't see their grandchildren, would also have signs of trauma, signs of anxiety, signs of depression. That said, there is more and more research coming out in the literature that demonstrate that perhaps these symptoms are not necessarily simply a result of psychological or psychosocial challenges, but also potentially having as a result of some of the vascular impacts, some of the blood vessel impacts and immune impacts of COVID-19. And so as people go through long hauler symptoms or syndromes and are facing even issues like anxiety or depression, it's important that they are not diagnosed simply as, well, you had a terrible disease, and of course you're depressed. But to be always on the lookout for saying, yes, but what are some of the other symptoms? Are you having chest pain? Are you having shortness of breath? Are you having balance problems? All those things must be looked at more carefully now as people come back to the doctor, come out and see their physicians or talk to other family members about some of the symptoms they're experiencing. Next slide, please. So the impact on the cardiovascular systems are heart dysfunctions, myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart muscle, arrhythmias or heart rhythm irregularities. All these can cause heart failure, which is an inability or as you see from the next point, decreased squeeze of the heart, where the heart cannot pump adequately enough blood to oxygenate the rest of the body. Once again, these are all a result of COVID-19. It's not a result of depression or anxiety per se, but a result of damage to muscle, damage to the blood vessels that are caused by the immune and inflammatory aspects related to the COVID-19 infection. Next slide, please. Other ongoing cardiovascular symptoms that can occur after that are things like shortness of breath, heart palpitations, and chest discomfort and chest pain. And now at the end of the day, these things like heart palpitations or chest pain are things that, of course, you need to go and be seen by a physician, go to an emergency room, especially as we talk about, the American Heart Association, and we talk about heart disease and stroke. These are not things that you should wait for. And whether you had COVID-19 or not, they are things that people should go to the emergency room or see their physician if they have these symptoms. But it's also important for people to recognize that they must still talk about what happened 3-4 months ago, if you will, that yes, I had COVID-19, or yes, I had symptoms consistent with COVID-19, and these are things that have persisted over time. Next slide, please. So the impact on the cerebrovascular system, and if you think about it, you have brain and you have heart, but at the same time, all those organs, especially the heart and the brain, are perfused by blood vessels, and those blood vessels are damaged by COVID-19 due to the inflammation and the immune system abnormalities associated with COVID-19. So on the cerebrovascular system, you can have increased risk of developing blood clots that could lead to stroke. So not only just having inflammation of the blood vessels causing some of those other problems like PTSD, anxiety, depression, memory problems, loss of concentration, but they can even cause vascular anomalies that can then result in blood clots that could lead to a stroke. Next slide, please. The other potential complications of COVID-19 neurologically, you've heard of something called Guillain-Barré syndrome. The scientific or medical term is acute inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. I don't practice anymore, but it's really exciting for me that I can still say that as a doctor. So AIDP or Guillain-Barré, that is, of course, when you have a symptom or a syndrome where the nerves of your body are damaged by the autoimmune processes that have been impacted by COVID-19. And when those nerves are damaged, you can have progressive weakness that actually usually comes from the lower extremities and moves up and can even affect your diaphragm or your chest wall and make it difficult to breathe. As a result, Guillain-Barré syndrome is something that may present as a stroke-like symptom, may present as just generalized weakness. But once again, it's so important to be able to say, look, I had COVID-19 and this is a potential complication. I need to be seen. And it's really important because Guillain-Barré can cause paralysis of your diaphragm and your chest wall muscles, and you could have trouble breathing. Bell's palsy, which as you know is a unilateral weakness of your facial muscles, is once again because the nerves that feed the face, the muscles of the face, are impacted by the autoimmune processes caused by COVID-19. And then meningoencephalitis is a fancy word for inflammation of the meninges, which is the covering over the brain, as well as encephalitis, which is actually the inflammation of the brain itself. Inflammation, autoimmune disorders, all are things that we are now identifying are more related with the long hauler syndrome caused by COVID-19. So these are things, once again, that if someone has COVID-19, it's an extra reason to at 3-4 months down, say, I don't feel well, something's not right. I need to go be seen by a doctor. I need to go to the emergency room. And once there, to make sure that as part of the history, people know that they had COVID, that you had COVID-19, 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Next slide, please. And so I wanted to just finish off with this picture. Once again, it is BB Healthcare. And if you think about it, those things are so, in some respects, confusing symptomatically, where someone at home presents with facial weakness or numbness, maybe some chest pain or shortness of breath. And of course, they go to the local community hospital's emergency room like BB Healthcare. And it is so important for patients to remember to share in that family history, in their social history, in their past medical history, that they had COVID-19 or that they had family members who were diagnosed with COVID-19, because that's so important in understanding whether or not these symptoms are related to an acute process or whether they are related to long hauler syndrome. And there are different methodologies for treatment that we need to provide. It's really important now, as we get back to, of course, talking about heart association and stroke, to make sure that we know that so many things impact heart disease and stroke. And AHA is on the forefront of helping everybody do a much better job of both treating at the front lines like at BB Healthcare, as well as at more university and academic medical systems, more at the tertiary level. And so it's really an honor for me to represent all the community hospitals impacted and supported by AHA and be part of this as well. Thank you so much. And David, back to you.
Wow, Dr. Tam, thank you so much. The chat was just blowing up there during your presentation. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the incredibly insightful information on COVID-19 and how it continues to impact lives here in Delaware and around the world. I think I'm safe to speak for all of us when I say that we are truly fortunate to have great health leaders like you calling Delaware home. Thanks, Dr. Tam. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce you to one of our greatest champions and one of our distinguished Wilmington Heart Walk executive leadership team members, Michelle Dua, who hails from Greenville, Delaware. Michelle is going to share her family's incredible heart story with us.
Hello, my name is Michelle Jackson Dua, and I'm here to remind you that miracles do happen. I think of my life in 2 chapters, before and after August 19th, 2018. On that day, my 36-year-old husband, Amit, went into sudden cardiac arrest in front of our 2 young children and me. Not knowing how, I performed CPR on him. Amit had no heartbeat for 9 minutes and flatlined multiple times in the ambulance ride to Christiana Hospital. He underwent therapeutic hypothermia, was put on life support, and had a balloon pump. The list goes on. He was a tangle of tubes and lines under a mass of white. With less than a 10% chance of survival and even less for a full recovery, Amit needed a miracle. I did not leave his side unless I absolutely had to, because I needed him to know how much he had to live for. Our kids were waiting for their daddy to come home. Amit is here today because of the American Heart Association, Christiana Hospital, and I'd like to think because of a promise we made as 2 19-year-olds who fell in love and dreamed of building a life together. I know miracles happen because I witnessed one. We are proud to participate in the Heart Walk each year to honor Amit, those like him who have survived, and sadly, those who have not. We are dedicated to raising heart health awareness.
Thank you, American Heart Association, for your advancements in cardiac care. Because of your organization, Christiana Hospital, our family and friends, my kids, and especially my wife, Michelle, I am so blessed and grateful to say I am a survivor of sudden cardiac arrest and have made a full recovery.
The Dua family will always be your heart warriors.
Miracles do happen.
Miracles do happen. I love that's pretty great, you guys. Good, very, very punny. I love it. What a powerful and remarkable story. It's truly inspirational, and what a beautiful family. I'm so glad that Dad is still here with them today. The one thing that Michelle didn't mention in that video was that she saved Amit's life by performing CPR with the assistance from a 911 operator while they waited for the paramedics to arrive. You are a true hero, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing Amit's incredible story. You, Amit, Lila, and Jay are such compelling forces for positive change in our community, and it was great to see the kiddos on the video with you there. Now on our screen, we're going to take a look at the amazing leadership team that is helping make our Wilmington Heart Walk such a success. We want to express our deep appreciation to all of our Wilmington Heart Walk executive leadership team members right now. What an incredible group, and good looking, frankly, a group of passionate leaders. We also cannot execute our life-saving work here in Delaware without the phenomenal support of our valued corporate sponsors. We would like to take a moment to recognize the incredible support we have received from our Wilmington sponsors. A big thank you to the following companies who are helping us save lives right here in our local community. DuPont, who is our statewide signature sponsor. Delmarva Power, Capital One, Nemours, JP Morgan Chase, M&T Bank, St. Francis Healthcare, Dental Associates of Delaware, DiSabatino Construction Company, the Martin dealerships, got my car there, Nickel Electrical Companies, Quality Heating and Air Conditioning, Gordon Forneris and Mamarella, RC Fabricators, Ralph G. Degliabisi and Sons, shout out to Mark, I saw you in the chat there, Whiting Turner, the Winter Auto Group, and the WSFS Community Foundation. And just in, Barclays has just this morning agreed to sponsor this year's walk too. Thank you, Abhishek, for all the wonderful folks at Barclays. Next up, we have some great photos of the Delaware Heart Walks in Wilmington and Rehoboth Beach from the past 2 years. This year, we hope to have live in-person events on November 7th on the Wilmington Riverfront and November 21st at the Rehoboth Beach Bandstand, which is going to be beautiful. Depending on the progress we make as a state around the coronavirus, of course. Either way, we will be having a meaningful event, whether that's in person, digital, or both. Hope you enjoy.
It comes and goes. We're out here chasing a feeling. Up high, down low. We go from the floor to the ceiling. We fly, we fall. We get back up and try again. Some do, some don't. Some will, some won't. I wanna feel just a little, just a little, just a little. Put my heart in the middle, in the middle, in the middle. Wanna live just a little, just a little, just a little. Wanna feel just a little, just a little, little bit more, little bit more. Big heart, big plans, big dreams, and we ain't even sleeping. Who can? We can. We dive right into the deep end. You win, you lose. You get back up and try again. Some do, some don't. Some will, some won't. I wanna feel just a little, just a little, just a little. Put my heart in the middle, in the middle, in the middle. Wanna live just a little, just a little, just a little. Wanna feel just a little, just a little, little bit more, little bit more. I want it all, please don't judge me. I want some love and some money. I wanna be at the party, yeah, that's me at the party. Wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel just a little, just a little, just a little. Put my heart in the middle, in the middle, in the middle. Wanna live just a little, just a little,
Oh my gosh, that was so awesome. Is it weird to say I got chills there? That was amazing. I love seeing all those photos of the last couple of walks. What a great time. I know that I will say my little heart heroes at home were super bummed that we couldn't do the walks in person last year. They're actually already starting to talk about what they're going to get painted on their faces this year. And no, that was not my car in that one picture that you saw there. Now I am honored to introduce you to the highly regarded president of DuPont Mobility Materials, Randy Stone. Randy has served in this role since September 2017, overseeing a $5 billion, that's billion with a B, global business in the transportation, electronics, and industrial markets. He previously served as president DuPont Performance Materials. Randy is also the proud father of our amazing accomplished musicians from this morning, Nan and Ray Stone. I don't know if anybody saw in the chat, but I'm trying to start a band with those two little guys, and they are amazing. Guy and girl, sorry. We are honored to have Randy as our Wilmington Heart Walk chair this year, and we are thankful for his strategic and insightful leadership. Randy will speak on Heart Walk's issue-based campaign this year and the significant impact it will make here in Delaware. Randy?
Okay, David, good morning and thank you. It's great to be with everyone. So inspiring to see the program and to see all the different images. Let me just start by saying on behalf of the American Heart Association in Delaware, I do want to express my great appreciation to all of you for joining today. I'm really honored to serve as the chair for the 2021 Delaware Heart Walk, along with Dr. David Tam. Today, we come together to inspire and celebrate the passionate commitment it takes to improve and extend our lives and the lives of those we love. Today, our community moves forward towards better health, and we stand together in the fight against the number 1 and the number 4 killers in Delaware, heart disease and stroke. The Heart Walk really is a time for our community to rally together and to honor and remember our loved ones. It's also a time to collectively start making lifestyle changes that will lead all of us to healthier and longer lives. And of course, we're raising the crucial dollars needed to fund the life-saving research breakthroughs that bring scientific discoveries into everyday life. The American Heart Association is working with researchers, medical experts, scientists, community leaders, businesses, and families to make significant advances in heart and brain health in terms of prevention, treatment, and care. It's really important to know that the American Heart Association is the largest funder of heart research outside of the federal government. The AHA is currently funding 5 research grants right here in Delaware. Over the past 2 years, the AHA has funded local grants totaling almost $1 million. Dollars raised here in Delaware that funds research right in our backyard, which is a significant outcome. Your support of our Heart Walk locally will align directly with our mission-driven work throughout the state. Corporate sponsorships can also directly support our issue-driven Heart Walk campaign and make an impact in key areas, including the reduction of blood pressure, the fight against food insecurity, our Stroke Mission Lifeline initiative statewide, and our compelling work through the Hypertension Control Network. For example, at DuPont, our sponsorship was aligned with employee educational sessions around heart and brain health. These sessions, which are in a fireside chat format, provide important life-saving health information to our employees and their families at our sites across the country. The first session featured Dr. Kurt Garrett, the medical director of the renowned Heart and Vascular Center at Christiana Care, and a key member of our Heart Walk leadership team. And I want to recognize and acknowledge his efforts during that session. These sessions have made an incredible impact at DuPont. I know firsthand that corporate funds are limited. However, our support of the Heart Walk for DuPont is really an investment. It's provided a strong return in terms of employee wellness and training here at DuPont, and really for employees across the country. We also know that food and nutrition security is also a serious health concern facing our communities, leading to malnourishment and unhealthy diets, which in turn cause additional health concerns. Unfortunately, the pandemic has exacerbated this inadequacy into a national crisis. Like you, the American Heart Association is concerned about the long-term effects of food and nutrition insecurity and has made this a top organizational priority. There are sponsorships in the AHA that directly support this mission-driven work in terms of food security issues. The AHA is developing a food app to fight insecurity among college students and in Delaware. Students can access nutritious foods through this app in a private and discreet way. Our very special thanks to our initial corporate funders, which include Nemours and Capital One, whose support of the Heart Walk is aligned with this life-changing effort. In another top initiative, the AHA has partnered with federally qualified health centers in Delaware to distribute over 1,000 home healthcare kits to high-risk patients so they can safely monitor their blood pressure and temperature from home during the pandemic. These health centers serve residents who are truly in need in our community. This important initiative is funded in a significant way through the Heart Walk sponsorships. BB Healthcare, JP Morgan Chase, and Mountaineer Farms. Thank you to those corporate partners for their great support. Heart Walk sponsors have also directly supported the distribution of CPR kits in our local community. Our thanks to St. Francis Healthcare, a key funder of this initiative. These CPR kits allow families to be trained on this life-saving skill in their own homes. About 88% of the heart attacks outside of a hospital happen at home. So this represents a key way to truly save lives. CPR can double a person's chance of survival. To our new attendees who are joining us today, I hope you'll consider partnering with AHA and our Heart Walk to support these important initiatives to make Delawareans healthier and happier. To all our survivors who are with us today, we wish you continued health and prosperity. Your stories are so inspiring. We want to celebrate you and honor you, and please know that we feel a tremendous sense of obligation and duty to continue to raise funds to make the advancements in research and treatments to keep you healthy and strong. Finally, to our entire team at DuPont, I want to express my deep appreciation for the dedication and the commitment to the AHA and heart health. My deepest thanks especially to Linda McAuliffe and to Anita Franzoni. I especially want to recognize Anita, who in loving memory of her dear husband, Michael, has mobilized a really impressive team inside the company to make sure others do not suffer the sudden loss of a loved one that she and her family had to endure. Anita, you inspire me every day. You're the reason I joined the AHA board, and you challenge me to work to change the future for you and many, many others. Yours is truly a powerful legacy, and I'm really honored to work alongside you. Thank you all for the dedicated efforts on this inspiring level of support that you've given to the Heart Walk. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Dave Morris, who will address the Mission Lifeline and the Hypertension Control Network and some of the transformational efforts underway right here in our first state. David?
Randy, thank you so much. With you and Dr. Tam leading the way for us this year, I know it's going to be the best Heart Walk ever. So much great chat going on in there about your leadership, and thank you so much. And Anita, we love and appreciate you and Linda so much. The American Heart Association, as Randy mentioned, has been doing some amazing work right here in our local community. In addition to our core mission of creating a world of longer, healthier lives, our board of directors, many of whom are here with us today, have set very ambitious goals for us to address 3 specific areas. These are food access and insecurity, overhauling stroke care, and bringing 70% of Delawareans' blood pressure within the AHA guidelines. In terms of food access, as Randy mentioned, we're working with key funders, including many in the Heart Walk, to develop a food rescue app, which will allow community members in need of food, healthy food options, to be alerted on their smartphone when food is available in their local area. This will be piloted with the colleges and universities around Delaware this summer and be rolled out to the general population later in 2021. We have also set a very ambitious goal of $2.3 million to address stroke care and hypertension in Delaware, which are inextricably linked. While stroke is the number 5 cause of death in the US, it is number 4 here in Delaware. And we are working with community partners, including all the health systems, the EMS teams, and community groups to improve stroke care statewide. Hypertension control is a significant piece of this campaign. We have made it our goal as I said, to bring 70% of Delawareans' blood pressure within the AHA's guidelines in the next 3 years. To date, we have received more than $800,000 in funding to address hypertension and stroke care in our state. Part of this is the immediate distribution of more than 1,000 emergency health kits right now to those most in need. The first step in controlling blood pressure, and I can speak to this personally, is knowing your numbers. And these health kits include blood pressure cuffs and tracking sheets to help Delawareans monitor their blood pressure. They'll be distributed through federally qualified health centers, hospitals, clinics, Delaware libraries, and major employers. Currently, more than 37% of Delawareans suffer from hypertension, or what is known as the silent killer. And those are honestly just the ones that we know about. We are meeting people where they work, live, and play to identify everyone's risk for future heart disease and stroke. I truly am so proud of these programs and our efforts together to save lives right here in our local community. And as these programs will save many, many lives for many, many years to come. If you know of anyone, or if your own company is interested in participating in the hypertension program, please let me know. We would love your help. Now, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to Mallory Talbot, the mother of our little heart survivor, Robin McDermott. This incredible family from Greenwood, Delaware, will truly touch you with their profoundly moving and powerful story. Mallory and her husband, Bob, also have 2 other children, Eli and Quinn. They are inspirations to us all.
Hi, my name is Mallory Talbot. I live in Greenwood, Delaware, and I am a heart mom. In December of 2017, I went in for a routine anatomy scan at BD Women's Health and left with life-changing news. I consider this the first moment Robin was ever saved. Because her CHD was caught early, we were able to plan and prepare for what happened next. Robin was born at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia on April 28, 2018, with a complex CHD called pulmonary atresia with intact ventricular septum in HRHS, which stands for hypoplastic right heart syndrome. She was born with an absent pulmonary valve and a severely small right ventricle. Immediately after she was born, we thought she was going to have surgery. Luckily, she only needed a stent that was placed with a heart cath, and she went home fairly quickly. But after we went home, we felt like we were in a hospital almost every other week for the next 4 months. Bob and I decided that we needed to make plans for her first open heart surgery, which led us to the Boston Children's Hospital. Robin had her first open heart surgery at 4 months old with the renowned surgeon, Dr. Romani, at Boston Children's. And since her surgery, she's not had any cardiac interventions or hospitalizations. And clinically, she's doing very well. She has another heart surgery planned, and I'm waiting for that date any day now. And this surgery will be focusing on her tricuspid valve, which will either repair or replace. We're not very sure of the outcome of the surgery or what to expect. But we do know that Robin will give her best fight. Looking at Robin, you would never think there's a complication with her health. But with every heartbeat, she fights for her life, and every breath is a miracle. She is a survivor of an incurable, life-threatening defect. Congenital heart defect is the most common birth defect among children. 25% of the kids born with a CHD will need surgery. And although these surgeries they have to reroute their tiny hearts surely save their lives, it leaves them vulnerable. There is no cure. They will have lifelong medical issues. This is why I encourage you to support the American Heart Association. With more funding comes more research. With more research, we can help save more children like Robin.
You're my dun dun, my only dun dun. You make me happy. Another day, everybody. Oh, I love you. So take my dancing away.
Oh my gosh, that song at the end, that one really got me. I really loved that. We have just learned actually that Robin will have her next surgery, as Mallory mentioned, later this month on May 24th. So it's in 20 days. We are sending our very best wishes. Now it takes a group of very talented and dedicated leadership volunteers to make the Southern Delaware Heart Walk a significant success. Here is our wonderful executive leadership team for our Southern Delaware Heart Walk. Thank you all so much for your leadership. We also want to take a moment to recognize our incredible sponsors for our Southern Delaware Heart Walk. Thank you to the following companies who are standing by our side to save lives here in Delaware: BB Healthcare, Bay Health, Mount Air Farms, County Bank, Nemours, NRG Energy, Fulton Bank, the Carl M. Freeman Foundation, and Post Acute Medical. Thank you all so much. Locally, the AHA awarded 6 significant grants for research in Delaware over the past 3 years. Overall, the AHA has awarded more than $1 million that is ongoing right here in Delaware. When you support the Heart Walk, you can be sure that many of the dollars you raise will stay right here in Delaware. 2 of our highly regarded grant recipients are here with us today. Dr. Megan Wenner, Associate Professor at the University of Delaware. Go Blue Hens. Dr. Wenner's research with the initial grant from the AHA studying the link between menopause and the increased risk for cardiovascular disease has been widely acclaimed. We are very proud to say that her research is now also funded by the National Institutes of Health. Dr. Wenner will interview her amazing colleague, Dr. Fabrizio Sergi, about his transformational research on robotics and stroke, which is also funded and is AHA funded, I should say, and is currently underway also at the University of Delaware. They are both doing great research that will result in life-saving outcomes. Megan, Fabrizio, take it away.
Thanks so much, David. It's my pleasure to have Dr. Sergi with us today. Dr. Sergi and his laboratory have been strong supporters of the Heart Walk each year. You may have seen him and his beautiful wife pushing their young son around on the Heart Walk. Dr. Sergi is the director of the Human Robotics Laboratory in the Department of Biomedical Engineering at UD, and his research focuses on stroke rehabilitation. Welcome, Fabrizio. So as it's been mentioned, May is Stroke Awareness Month, and we know that stroke impacts a lot of Delawareans. As David mentioned, it's the 4th leading cause of death in Delaware. Can you start off by telling us about your AHA-funded project and how robotics can help with stroke rehab?
Sure, thanks Megan, and good morning everyone. So I'm a biomedical engineer, and the goal of our field is to identify promising technologies capable of improving current practices in medicine, right? And so there is a tremendous urgency of improving the quality of care for individuals surviving a stroke. A big focus of research has been in supporting physical therapists in motor rehabilitation after stroke. While there has been big improvements in acute care of stroke, still roughly 50% of survivors are left with some degree of motor disability. Currently, individuals receive very little rehabilitation in the critical time windows of the first 3 to 6 months after their stroke, where we actually know that it's most beneficial to do rehab. So in this context, robotic devices are useful because they can automate movement-based rehabilitation, which is a very labor-intensive process. Robots can help by delivering controlled amounts of assistance during rehab and measuring precisely how well a patient is recovering. So rehabilitation can be seen as an algorithm where you identify a method that most likely to work for a specific patient. So as roboticists start to work in the context of rehab, we realized that the problem wasn't actually about how to automate rehab. Robots are pretty powerful, and we know that we can design them to be safe and effective. Instead, the problem that we're trying to address with our research is what to automate. There is a big gap in understanding of the biology of the rehab and how movement practice and assistance can actually help and make new connections between the brain and muscles that lead to improvement after stroke. So our own work aims to overcome this limitation and tries to connect robotics with rehab. Our group has developed robotic exoskeletons that can be used in combination with neuroimaging, and specifically with a neuroimaging technique called functional MRI. With functional MRI, we can observe the activity of the brain while it's engaged in tasks such as those of robotic rehabilitation. So this way we can understand how different controllers that we can use for rehab stimulate different areas of the brain and how the brain adjusts to different programs that are delivered by robots. So our project funded by the AHA studies how individuals form motor memories during robotic training. How do they learn to improve their movements with robotic assistance? We know that every time we complete a new movement, our brain creates a model of the consequences of the signal generated by our brain. That helps our brain understand how to send a better signal at the next attempt. So this is important because our actions cannot be always the same. Sometimes our muscles fatigue. Sometimes we move on a slightly different terrain. So how do we learn to update a model of how best send commands to our muscle? So with the support of the AHA, we are currently studying which areas of the brain are involved in creating and retrieving these types of motor memories. And we're using a technique called resting state functional connectivity to identify how connectivity of different regions changes before and after robotic training. We have currently completed a study in healthy participants. They used an MRI-compatible robot and did several sessions of fMRI before and after motor training. In our study, we have identified that a network including the motor cortex, the thalamus, and the cerebellum is likely involved in forming these motor memories that are associated with robotic training. And its function is associated with how well a subject will do on a later task.
Great, that's amazing. So you're able to use these robots while the person is inside the MRI so that you can see exactly in the brain what's being triggered by their movements with the robot. That's fantastic. So AHA funding has helped numerous young investigators, including myself, to kickstart their careers. Can you tell us how this funding has been instrumental for you?
Yeah, so this funding provided by the AHA has been very important to support our activities in this field, where in this case, we need to first establish the fundamental principles of the biological process that we want to study before then being able to test its validity in a clinical population. So this is a type of basic human subject research. And I'm very thankful for the AHA support of this type of fundamental science projects that are in the field of behavioral neuroscience, for which it is actually typically hard to find support through other mechanisms, such as the NIH, especially for young investigators. So this grant has also supported one graduate student, Andrea Ferenc, who moved to the state of Delaware to do research in my lab, and she's approaching graduation with a PhD in biomedical engineering. I'm also pretty, hopeful that she's off to a successful career in academia and may be another contributor to the mission of the AHA.
That's outstanding. So what are your next steps?
So we are planning to start soon, so the second part of the funded study, which is on post-stroke individuals. So with the pandemic, the progress of our research focused on an elderly population has slowed down, but we hope to resume that component of research soon. And with this method, we hope to identify criteria to establish which individuals may best respond to different algorithms or type of robotic treatment, so that we may able to identify optimal interventions that may also include robotics for each patient.
Well, thank you so much. That's truly exciting to use this technology to make an individual development plan for each person's rehab for stroke is very, very exciting and groundbreaking. So a special thanks to the AHA for funding this important work right here in Delaware. And thank you, Dr. Sergi, for joining us today. David, back to you.
Wow, can you guys, honestly, can you guys believe that this is happening here in Delaware? Like, this is it's amazing. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Megan and Fabrizio. You are truly making us proud with your groundbreaking research. It means so much to all of us that you're doing this remarkable work right here in Delaware. The Heart Walk is so proud to support support your extraordinary efforts. Doctors, I can say with the utmost confidence that you guys probably have more brains in your little pinkies than I do in this giant melon here sitting on my shoulders. You guys are rock stars, and honestly, that research that Dr. Sergey is performing sounds like something out of like a movie or something. It's unbelievable. So I want to express my deep appreciation to our amazing lineup of speakers today who represent key portions of the AHA's mission in our community. Thank you to all of our attendees today. Your support of our mission has never been more important. Your sponsorship and fundraising efforts in support of the AHA's mission of fighting heart disease and stroke will help ensure that we continue to fund research like this, support frontline healthcare workers like Dr. Tam and others on this call today, and help the underserved residents in our community who are disproportionately impacted by heart disease and stroke. Please know that your gifts will provide critical resources for schools and companies working to improve and well-being as they reopen. Your support funds initiatives that address social inequities and barriers to healthcare that exist for underserved populations. And your support will ensure that the significant work we do daily to improve hospital care, teach CPR, and fight for healthy policies will continue.
Yeah, thanks, David. I just want to say there are two main ways to support the statewide Heart Walks. You can do that through a sponsorship or through a team of fundraising walkers. We hope those on the phone today and joining us can either sponsor or mobilize a team of walkers to attend the event and fundraise for us. The AHA mission is more important now than ever. Your support of the Heart Walk will help to accelerate scientific discoveries and research advances while supporting local programs here in Delaware.
Randy, I agree with you 100% that, the mission-driven work of the American Heart Association is more important now than ever before. You heard from my talk as well as in the literature that it's, more than just simply cholesterol and diet. There's all kinds of other things that are related with heart disease and stroke, and the treatments are getting more complex and more sophisticated, like the work that you just saw from the research that you heard about. In our heart center during the worst of COVID-19, I know that we relied very heavily on everything from AHA sponsored literature, as well as at the front lines, people, using the things they learned in terms of CPR and identifying early stroke symptoms. And the AHA is our trusted partner. And, the AHA has not stopped working on behalf of our community during this pandemic. And, we can't either. We can't let up. Our community needs their services more than ever. They need our support, and we need your continued help. So Randy and I ask today for your commitment on this initiative. Every commitment made today is an investment in AHA's life-saving mission. Together, we are impacting lives in our community and leaving a legacy for future generations.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Tam. I'd be remiss if I didn't say how fortunate I feel to be able to partner with you and so many of those on the call today. And also just seeing the inspiring videos, right? If you ever need an inspiration to do some of this great work, we saw it today. So our request this morning is really simple. We hope that each of you will join us in this fight. We're asking you to go in and type "I'm in" our chat session today, and someone from the AHA will follow up with you in the next couple of days. So please let us know in the comment section that you're all in with the simple quote, "I'm in." And let me just close by saying thank you so much for your support of the AHA's life-saving mission. David, back to you.
Thank you both so much. We are truly fortunate to have you guys with us. I look at all these. I can't keep up with these. I've got Lindsay, Ben, Erica, Randy. I know you're in. Mark D, we know you're in. Thank you all. Look at all the supporters filling up the chat there. Amazing. So either myself, our wonderful Heart Walk director, Laura Loro, or one of our incredible volunteers like Dr. Tam or Randy will be following up with you after today's event to talk about what's next. I know that with each of you by our side, we will truly save lives. Well, that's a wrap for today's festivities. Thank you all for your time this morning. Thank you to all our speakers, and thank you for all that you do for the Delaware community. Zoom wave, guys. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.